Hey guys, today we're gonna see how you can scale your e-commerce brand to more than $500,000 a month. You probably now below six figures and you want to get to six figures and $500,000 a month plus. This is exactly the video for you. I'm gonna go top line what you need to do, but give you some more granular details as well on how you can get there. And obviously I have a lot more trainings that I'm gonna go on each part of this very in depth so you can basically have the full roadmap and kind of strategy here. So yeah, point being, who am I? Why you shouldn't even listen to me? I got more than 120 million in revenue generated, work with multiple 7-8 figure brands, and I also been fractional head of performance and head of acquisition in a few agencies. I'm currently actually head of acquisition and I'm doing all this consulting. So point being, I have e-commerce experience for more than 7 years and multiple case studies I'm going to go through obviously. But yeah, point being, let me go back to the video. So first thing, I like to kind of segment the stages of growth, stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 1 is when you're spending below $500,000 per month on paid media in general. And basically only two things matter: your product and your unit economics, and then your audience. From a top level perspective, how you can obviously get that. Now for paid, we really need to be very specific, and that's a mistake that most brands do. They don't really know their targets. And point being, they don't really know what exactly are looking to kind of acquire the customer, and that target doesn't translate into in-platform targets on Meta and Google. So you can see how acquisition and overall growth of the business can get a bit out of control because you don't really know what you're really looking at. Now let me just make myself a bit smaller here because there's no reason to watch me. But yeah, here's some of the lessons that I learned. We're gonna go step by step on some of the things you need to really understand and really master if you want to grow your business to $500,000 a month, and obviously making like probably 6-7 million a year just for your e-commerce business. Again, you can do this with just 2 channels mainly, but just starting off, we're gonna go with master financial fundamentals. I know you probably won't be liking this, but probably you need to go back to your numbers and really do a very specific audit on your unit economics. Every sale must contribute to profitability. That being said, we need to have very clear view of how we're looking in terms of margins, what's a profitable rate that we're going to acquire customers, and maybe what's our LTV if you obviously should have some data. That would be the single most important thing to scale, because we really have that confidence in pushing more spends and obviously acquiring more customers. So know your numbers, reverse engineer revenue goals into ad account metrics. So typically when a client comes aboard, what I really do is obviously we go and reverse engineer what's that MER target and CAC target that will be profitable in the ad platforms, and rather than just focusing on a vanity metric, for example, or like a ROAS generic goal. So based on the bottom line basically and the revenue goals and what's profitable and the margins, and with some easy calculations, you can probably get down to a CAC and margin metric that we take a look at. So month of profitability and cash flow are probably in a daily phase, ideally with a very specific and detailed forecast. Avoid overspending and running into operational headaches. Again, that will be very hard to scale and just have a lot of trouble scaling in general. And with your e-commerce business, just funding. And really the key thing that you need to focus on is one metric, which contribution margin. So basically is how I can create something people are willing to pay for it, a price that makes money after all costs. So contribution margin in very simple terms is basically after all your expenses and operational costs, so everything, what's your profit rate basically. So this is the only metric that you need to optimize for, and that's why we're focusing only on Meta and Google. These are the most sophisticated and more mature ad platforms that you need to be focusing on, that all your customers, and you can easily scale to even like $1 million a month just from these 2 platforms. So don't like confuse it with Meta, with TikTok, Snapchat, any of the stuff. I think you can get very ahead of the game just for these 2 platforms basically. So point being here, master for financial fundamentals, I'll drop a calculator below so you can have an idea and how you can calculate some of the stuff, but it's fairly easy. You should have your numbers down anyway. Now start with one acquisition challenge. If you don't like, if you're like 30 or 50k a month maybe, or even just 100k a month, and that's mostly organic, make sure you focus on one winning acquisition channel. Probably for 90% of the brand, it will be Meta, Facebook and Instagram. And then after you're spending like 1K a day probably on Meta, it's just very, very, very integral that you activate Google as well, because Google can actually act as demand capture of your kind of paid social efforts and all your awareness and traffic that you build through Meta basically. If you do have the capacity, you can do both, like some very, very small and easy campaigns and very simple campaigns on Google just from the start is also highly suggestible, but Meta will be your bread and butter basically. So I have a lot of videos, and I'm going to be making more specific around these key concepts that has really driven scale in whenever I actually manage an actual like brand basically. We need to have a solid ad account structure that drives profitability. So key focus here: keep things consolidated, keep things focused just on the creative piece, which does most of the targeting. Make sure you have a solid creative testing and scaling procedure and scaling process, because that scaling that creative testing campaign, you can allow you to gather data, iterate, and focus on the most important thing, which is going to be your creative and speaking to your customer. Again, we're going to go very, very in depth on this on maybe the next video actually, because I think it's one of the most single important things. But for now, just make sure you have this consolidated account structure, creative testing, focusing on creative testing on an ABO setup. And yeah, then creative mix matters, especially if you have reached any kind of decent scale on Meta. The next logical thing to do to scale further is know what you think is actually bringing a more diverse style of creatives. Just big disclaimer here, just because I'm just throwing kind of tips here out of context maybe. If you haven't really built a solid base on Meta, you haven't found profitability, don't just try to iterate with different personas and everything. Make sure you focus on 3 core angles of your product and pain points, try to address them, and probably some kind of UGC video will do very well, and test a lot through statics, because they are very, very easily to can actually put out there. So point being here, speak directly to your core audience. Pro tip: set a foundation with 3 core customer personas, 3 angles, and a problem solution statements. This will be your bread and butter. This is how you can actually test a lot of different variables and scale to like 6 figures in spend just from that. And then the next thing that really innately kind of connects to Meta and any digital platform is going to be build a creative system. The sooner you do this, the better. Test, learn, and iterate. Use creative to guide to guide the creative on each batch. Make sure you actually have a solid process that basically have this all-in-one dashboard. It tracks every creative, it tracks all the metrics, and you can iterate. I like to use Motion, which is a visual and analytic tool. Basically pulls all the data from the ad platforms, and it provides me a visual way of the creative. We're gonna go also in depth on another video on that. But yeah, strong creative, high ROAS, honestly. Use a variety of angles, aspirational, pain points, lifestyle to resonate with the audience. Please go and do a lot of research. But yeah, let me just recap for now. Make sure you have your fundamentals down in terms of finances, know your targets. Start with one winning acquisition channel, which is going to be Meta probably. Focus on creative and build a solid creative system. Testing that account and collect all the data. Again, I'm going to have useful links in the description and some calculators that you can use. And then after a point, you need to diversify. So we are probably around like 100, 200K a month probably in revenue. Diversify with Google and email. Move beyond retargeting and branding campaigns. And apply a full funnel approach like a non-branded search, shopping campaigns, and more. So you can acquire more customers. Google can be a great platform to acquire new customers, and a lot of people think that it's just for retargeting. It's not. It's actually a very solid platform. So make sure you take advantage of it. Email, don't sleep on flows and campaigns to boost retention and LTV. Again, it can really help with contribution margin, unlocking more profit, and really just capturing all the attention that you have built. And the last, but definitely not least, another channel that you can use is leverage influencer seeding. Identify influencers with your core audience and start collaborations strategically. You can use them on paid ads, so you can obviously set up a whitelisting kind of partnership with an influencer. You can run ads through the profile, which is absolutely crushes it every time. But in general, just have multiple people just speaking about your brand and product. I think it's more so an eco effect to your brand, but it's such an important thing that you can do, especially nowadays. So you can get the creative and run it as ads. That would be the best probably ad if it is on your core audience, and combination that they're probably going to have some followers as well. So that's pretty much it. It's really scaling the game of balancing financial fundamentals and experimentation. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'm going to have specific videos for each one of these key steps. But if you're really struggling to basically what you need to focus on, this is going to be your bread and butter. If you focus on this, I guarantee you're going to get 500,000 a month. Thanks a lot for watching this, and hope you have a great day.